So you're at a bar, or you're sitting on the front porch, or maybe you're at a barbecue, or maybe you're gathered at a party, maybe you're around even the water cooler at work, and somebody says, "Hey, man, did you know that?" And you just fill in the blank from there. Did you know that? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody says, "Oh, wow, really? That's cool. That's interesting. Wow, that's fantastic." But then there's always one guy or one girl that says, "Pretend you're on a planet somewhere." And there's this being that says it's God. And then it says it wants your starship. There's always one guy or one girl that says, "Excuse me, what does God need with a starship?" And it's never fun to be that guy or that girl that asks, "Wait a second. What about," or, um, "Wait a second. How do we know?" It's much easier to be the guy that says, "Oh, yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, that's got to be true." It's much easier to be the girl that says, "Oh, yeah, I believe that. No problem." Well, it's easier to be that guy, but I can't be that guy. And it's easier to be that girl. And if you're here, you probably can't be that girl either. So whenever I hear everybody knows, that's when I start saying, everybody knows that gravity is real. Really? Do we? Are we certain? And what do we really know about gravity? That's what we're talking about today. We are here to ask questions, and we are here to question answers. We're not here to talk about things that don't really matter, things that might be more sexy, might get more clicks, might get more views, might get more subscribers, but don't really matter at the end of the day. Our best shows are the ones where you can hear it and then start to apply it right away. And Karen says, heavy topic, but well played, Karen. Well played. So as we get into this, everybody knows gravity is real. Let's think about it. Let's look at things and let's consider things that maybe we haven't considered before. Let's ask things that maybe we haven't asked before. And let's let our minds go where maybe they've never gone before. And we're here to help you unindoctrinate yourself. And this is part of it. And I want you to be tuned to the ideal Schumann resonance of planet Earth. I want you to go to jeffreydaugherty.com and click on the Miss Tech logo. You can get right now through Valentine's Day 25% off your Miss Tech purchase, ladies and gentlemen. These bracelets put you at the original Schumann resonance. These bracelets put your cells in harmony rather than chaos. And these bracelets are proven by video right here on this channel to kill pathogens in your blood, stop the clumpy, what was it called yesterday we found out about is one of the things for disease, sticky blood. We've shown you that. We've proven you that. And it's up to you if you'd like to take advantage of it or not. 25% off between now and Valentine's Day. And that's not an endorsement of Valentine's Day, but it's just a nice reason to give you 5% off your Miss Tech purchase. So let's go ahead and look at gravity. And, let's look at what's behind gravity. Let's look a little bit deeper into gravity. And I've still got the virus background up. So let's see if we can't put up the gravity background to make us look a little bit better than what we're looking right now. Let's put up a gravity background. What do you think? Let me put up a gravity background. And, oh, come on, man. Sticky blood. Yeah, I'm going to put up I know I shouldn't be doing this now, but I want to. And we're going to do it because it bothers me not to have the right background up. So we'll do the gravity background. And boom, there's the gravity background. See, isn't that better? Isn't that nicer? Don't you feel better? Okay, I'm a little bit, yeah, whatever that is, but there we go. Everybody knows gravity is real, right? Everybody knows gravity is real. So let's look at gravity. And when you start talking about gravity, you've got to start with Sir Isaac Newton. You got to start with Sir Isaac Newton. In 1687, English mathematician Sir Isaac Newton essentially discovered gravity. Now, in modern times, Newton's theory has been superseded by Einstein's general relativity. Most modern non-relativistic gravitational calculations are still made using Newton's theory. So when we're talking about gravity, we're talking about Sir Isaac Newton. He's the guy that was sitting there. The apple supposedly fell down, hit him in the head, and he discovered gravity. And we've been living under gravity ever since. So that's Sir Isaac Newton, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit more about Sir Isaac Newton, because I always think that if you're going to talk about a person, and if you're going to talk about a subject, you're going to talk about a belief, you're going to talk about a theory, you're going to talk about a law, it's always nice to know the person that created it and to know a little bit more about the person that created it, a little bit more about their background. Pardon me if I just don't want to accept, oh, Sir Isaac Newton, smart guy, discovered gravity. Okay, I'll swallow it. I'm a little more selective. I'm like Monica Lewinsky on the Larry King show. He asked her, 4 or 5 years after everything went down. That was a good one. I didn't even mean it. 4 or 5 years after everything went down, he asked her, Monica, what's the one thing that you've learned in all these years? And on national TV, Monica Lewinsky, with a straight face, and at this time she was advertising for Jenny Craig, she said, I've learned that I shouldn't put things in my mouth that aren't good for me. I don't know how I got to that, but she said that. So let's talk about Sir Isaac Newton. Let's learn about Sir Isaac Newton. He was a devout but unorthodox Christian. Didn't believe in the Trinity. Isn't that interesting? Newton dedicated much of his time to the study of alchemy and biblical chronology. That's really interesting to me. The alchemy doesn't really bother me, but if he's a genius, why was he spending so much time on biblical chronology, which is so demonstrably silly? But anyway, and not only did Newton have unorthodox Christian beliefs, not only did he study the Bible, Newton also served 2 terms in Parliament. He was a politician. That's really interesting. Sir Isaac Newton was also knighted. He was made a knight. That's why he's called Sir. He was made a knight in 1705 by Queen Anne. And did you know there's only one other scientist that's ever been knighted? That was Sir Francis Bacon. And if you want to get deep into some conspiracies and into some weirdness, look up Sir Francis Bacon. But wait, folks, there's more. Sir Isaac Newton was also in charge of he was in charge of the English version of the Fed, the Federal Reserve. He was the warden from 1696 to 1700, and he was the master. Don't know what the difference is between those two things. From 1700 to 1727. So it looks like for 30 years, is that right? 1696, 4 makes 1700. For 30 years, over 30 years, dude was in charge of the Royal Mint that made the money for England. To say that the dude was connected is an understatement. That's Sir Isaac Newton, the guy that invented gravity. So it's interesting when you start asking questions about these dudes and these dudettes that did these things, and you start wondering, what kind of dude was it that did the deed? What kind of chick was it that did the deed? Makes you wonder. It looks like Sir Isaac Newton was completely, totally part of the system, so to speak. But that's just Sir Isaac Newton. Let's move on. Well, you know what? How about a little bit more about Sir Isaac Newton? Newton was invested in a little thing called the South Sea Company. Now, if any of young Pharaoh's listeners and watchers are watching, get ready to be triggered. Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, was a big investor in the South Sea Company. And this little company had slave reception factories at Cartagena, Colombia, Veracruz, Mexico, Panama, Portobello, La Guardia, Buenos Aires, La Habana, Santiago de Cuba. Wow. And slave deposits at Jamaica and Barbados. Do you know that Sir Francis Newton's company was successful at slave trading and meeting its quota when most companies weren't successful at meeting their quotas? Not only was Sir Francis Bacon a slave trader, he was a damn good slave trader. His company, and granted, it wasn't his company solely, but he was heavily invested in this company. They did 96 voyages in 25 years. They purchased 34,000 slaves, of whom 30,000 of them survived the voyage across the Atlantic. So in my Bible college math, if you're invested in a company that buys 34,000 slaves and 30,000 of them make it all the way to the Atlantic, and a very efficient slave trader was he, by my Bible college math, that lets me know that Sir Isaac Newton was guilty of at least 4,000 counts of murder. 4,000 counts of murder. That puts him, those are Epsteinian numbers. Those are Clintonian numbers. Those are Bushian numbers. Wow. The guy that created gravity owned at least 34,000 slaves and was guilty and complicit in at least 4,000 murders. Gravity. Maybe that's where that guy made up that song. What was his name? My son used to listen to this dude, gravity, stay the hell away from me. If it's killing people like that, you don't want nothing to do with it. So that's interesting. That's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. That's Sir Isaac Newton. Oh, and by the way, this is Sir Isaac Newton's coat of arms, his family coat of arms. Skull and crossbones, anyone? Where's the skull? Well, the skulls, there's 4,000 of them at the bottom of the Atlantic for a start. That is the Newton family coat of arms, ladies and gentlemen. Pirates, outlaws, dark occult, deep state. It's all right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right there. This is the guy that created gravity, invented gravity, ladies and gentlemen. You know, they say that history's written by the winners. It looks like science might also be written by the winners. So Sir Isaac Newton, gravity, one and the same. Think about it. And now, back to gravity. But the things that you discover when you bother to look, all you've heard about Sir Isaac Newton, has anyone else ever told you anything that you just saw? I'm saying and betting no. Have you ever heard anything of what you just heard? I'm saying and betting no. So I might not tell you about silliness, sensationalism, but we're going to tell you about real things. We are going to ask questions and we are going to question answers. I love Fig Newtons. I'm not going to lie. They're like my favorite cookie of all times. I love me some Fig Newtons, and Sir Isaac Newton got nothing to do with it. I know for a fact that Sir Isaac Newton was not the big Fig Newton. Can you remember that song? Ooey gooey, rich and chewy inside, tender, flaky, golden cakey outside. Oh, I can't remember that next part. Then he's like, the big Fig Newton. Ooey gooey, rich and chewy inside, tender, flaky, golden cakey outside. And I can't remember that. Dyer's got to remember that. Interesting. Charles Smith saying gravity short for grave. Ooh, interesting. So now back to gravity, ladies and gentlemen. Back to gravity. Enter Mr. Einstein. Mr. Einstein is the modern force behind gravity. Gravity is most accurately described by the general theory of relativity, which Albert Einstein pioneered in 1915. And it describes gravity not as a force, but as a consequence of the curvature of space-time caused by the uneven distribution of mass. The most extreme example of this curvature of space-time is a black hole, from which nothing, not even light, can escape once it's past the black hole's event horizon. So dense is the gravity, we're told, of a black hole that even light can't escape from a black hole. But of course, nobody's ever really seen a black hole, discovered a black hole, got into a black hole. Sharon, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. Gravity is well approximated by Newton's law of universal gravitation, which describes gravity as a force which causes any two bodies to be attracted to each other with the force proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Really? So I got a body. Cynthia's got a body. If I'm attracted to Cynthia, is it because of the force proportional to the product of our masses? And is it inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them? Ooh, boy, I don't know. But I saw a comment in here by Nika Domi, and it went by really fast, but I want to get back to it and see what she said. Very smart person. And I've got to get with you. I know I do. I don't know why I haven't. I just haven't. Newton got the quantum theory wrong, but got credit for it. And Einstein had the right idea of quantum theory that comes in packets. You mean like stevia? Newton said every action is an equal and opposite reaction, but Einstein proved it wrong. Interesting. So that's what Mr. Einstein says, and that's way over my pay grade. But can we, since we looked at Sir Isaac Newton, can we look a little bit at Albert Einstein? Albert Einstein worked at the Swiss Patent Office between 1902 and 1909. The Swiss Patent Office, dude was a clerk. No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with clerks. But how many scientific mathematical geniuses do you think are working at a clerk's office? There might be some, there might be one, but I'm saying it just kind of makes you go, It does make you go, And another thing, folks, that makes me go, is when people can't understand the idea behind focused life force energy. When they say, oh, there's no way that can work. It can't be high consciousness on demand. But they believe in energy. It can't really bring a high consciousness field to your phone or to your home, but they believe in the unseen world, folks. And I really can't believe that if you're some type of a spiritual person, if you're here, you are, why you wouldn't try it for free for 30 days, 15 on your home, 15 on your phone. I don't get why you don't get it, but I don't want to be without it. Focused Life Force Energy. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the fluffy logo, try it free for 30 days. He's a worker at the Swiss Patent Office. And Swiss Patent Office, whatever patent office, they're working 8 hours a day. Sometimes there's some overtime. They're working 5 days a week, right? But yet, right in the middle of the time he's working at the Swiss Patent Office, and I'm asking questions and I'm questioning answers, Albert Einstein managed to publish 4 world-shaking, groundbreaking scientific papers despite of working full-time at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. He also went on to lead a fun little group known as the Manhattan Project. And for those of you that are devout Christians and Jesus is your Lord and Savior, the Manhattan Project was the group that created the atom bomb. Nice guy. Great guy. Ooh, Tracy Dyer, great idea. He's working in the patent office, ladies and gentlemen. And he manages to come up with 4 groundbreaking ideas while he's working at the patent office. Did he steal it? Did he jack it? Ooh, great question. Great question. Great question. And did you know that Isaac Newton was a huge proponent of Zionism? I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm saying that it's interesting and you didn't know that. He also authored pro-socialist papers in 1918. That's why he's got the same hairstyle as Bernie Sanders. They're both socialists. That's why he looks like Bernie. Him and Bernie could be twins. Is that Albert Sanders? Is that Bernie Einstein? It looks like the same dude with a little bit longer of a haircut. He was a pro-socialist, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you want to be a socialist, you've got the right to be a socialist. And I also think you got the right to know that Albert Einstein, from all indications, was a socialist. Now, I'm not saying a socialist can't be a nice guy, and oh yeah, by the way, there's more. Albert Einstein strongly advocated for a one world global government. Albert Einstein was so involved in socialism, so involved in Zionism, which was, at least was, a very, very violent terrorist organization prior, like in the 1940s. The FBI had a dossier on Einstein that was 1,427 pages long when he died. He was an ardent supporter of Zionism. In fact, he was offered the presidency of Israel. He was offered to be the second president of Israel. It was said to be the highest honor that the Jewish nation could give to one of its own. He said no, but he was offered, dude, to be the president of Israel. Highly ceremonial, but anyway. And he also didn't believe in an afterlife. at all. Wow. Interesting. The interesting Mr. Einstein, ladies and gentlemen. And now, back to gravity. Nika says, no way. All the things that we didn't know. I know, right? How the hell do we not know these things? But we know all about the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and the Andromedans and the Uranians. We know all about that. We know all about this magic and this sigil and that sigil. We know all about Nibiru and Planet X, and we know all about the pole shift and what's that other thing called where everything gets cold. We know all about that stuff, but we don't know about the most basic stuff, about the most basic things that still rule our life. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. We should be embarrassed for what we listen to. History is written by the winners, they tell us, and it sure looks an awful lot like science is too. Wow. But wait, there's more. Do you know that the theory of gravity, and it really is a theory, that the theory of gravity actually has a lot of anomalies and a lot of discrepancies in it? For example, one of the anomalies and discrepancies in the theory of gravity is that there's these extra fast stars that move faster than they should be according to the observed distributions of normal matter. Einstein writes these laws of relativity, these laws of science, and yet these stubborn little extra fast stars won't listen to Mr. Einstein. These stubborn little extra fast stars won't listen to Sir Isaac Newton. I bet they'd listen to the big fig Newton, but not Sir Isaac Newton. Not Sir Isaac Newton. And not, well, Jeff, it's just a little star, a fast little star. What's the big deal? There's also, it just makes me laugh sometimes. There's extra fast galaxies. Wait a second. It's one thing of a star. It's just a little star, Jeff. It's just a fast little star. Boop, there it goes. It's just a fast star. Just one little fast, boop, there it goes. Just a fast star. Don't worry about it. It's just a little star. But there's extra fast galaxies. There's extra fast galaxies that move faster than they should be based upon Newtonian and Einsteinian theory and law. A whole damn galaxy. Not just a little blip star, it's a galaxy. But don't worry. They've come up with an answer, ladies and gentlemen. Dark matter. You can't see it. You can't define it. You can't describe it. You can't measure it. But dark matter, which would interact through gravitation, but not electromagnetically, would account for these discrepancies. Let me see. Let me get this right. We believe in science, just like Stevie on Nacho Libre. I don't believe in God. I believe in science. And then Nacho Libre comes by and says, baptizes them in the water so they can win their match. Dude, I don't believe in God. I believe in science. But science can invent this stuff called dark matter. Can't see it. Can't measure it. Sounds like faith to me. But it explains it all. It's dark matter. Dark matter, ladies and gentlemen, explains all the discrepancies. of Newtonian belief. It explains all the discrepancies of Einsteinian belief. Cynthia says science is just another religion. I don't believe in science. I do believe in science, not in God. Science is another religion, ladies and gentlemen. And when you can just, I don't care if you call it a religion or if you call it a science, when you can find anomalies and discrepancies and you can correct them by just making shit up, no bueno. If you can have a law, but there's an anomaly, a star, if you can have a discrepancy, a freaking galaxy, dude, do you understand that Newtonian law, Einstein law, there's galaxies that violate it. Galaxies. And you can just make shit up and it makes it all go away. Get that cunt out of my face. Come on. Really? Really? Wow. Wow. But wait, there's more anomalies. And see, this is what I like. Jimmy Mendias. Hello, Jimmy. How you doing, Jimmy, you son of a gun? Here's Jimmy Mendias. Jimmy is cross. Why, Jimmy? Are you cross? Are we cross? Because if we couldn't be friends, I just don't think I could bear it. So little Jimmy says, such a condescending prick. Little Jimmy, are we cross? Why, little Jimmy, are we cross? He's really hard to listen to. Nobody says you got to try. A lot of the universe is unseen at the quantum level. So for him saying you can't quantify D matter, so what? And I'm the condescending prick. Little Jimmy Mendias says, we've got a law. Doesn't matter if a whole galaxy violates the law. We've got dark matter. And dark matter is unseen. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. Just because you can't quantify it doesn't mean it's not real. And just because we can't prove what we say doesn't mean it's not true. Everybody knows it's true, and you're a condescending prick for choosing to ask us questions. Sorry, little Jimmy. But if asking questions and pointing out anomalies and pointing out discrepancies ruffles your little feathers, maybe you ought to just get the hell out of here. Because you obviously don't have the guts to sit here and listen, and you don't have the intellectual capacity to actually offer any type of rebuttal other than, you're a condescending prick. Maybe you ought to get your hand off of yours and actually do some study. Come strong to the mic, have a take, and don't suck, or you will be blown out of the water just like little Jimmy. Goodbye, little Jimmy. Come in, bringing that weak-ass shit down the lane. We gonna smack that. Get that con out of my face, little Jimmy. Because guess what, little Jimmy? It's not just dark matter. Little Jimmy, what about the flyby anomaly? Various spacecraft get faster than they're supposed to in violation to Newtonian and Einstein law. Where are you on that one, little Jimmy? There's also accelerating expansion. Space is speeding up faster than it's supposed to be. Oh, but that's right. Dark energy explains it. Recent measurements indicate that planetary orbits are getting wider than they're supposed to, faster than they're supposed to, according to Newtonian and Einstein theory. What about that one, little Jimmy? And according to Einstein and according to Newton and according to little Jimmy, photons traveling through the galaxy should gain energy and then lose it again on their way out. Stubborn little protons. They're actually gaining twice as much energy as is expected. Sorry, I have a slight allergy to bullshit, so every now and then it gets to me. And then there's the extra massive hydrogen clouds. They're too freaking big than Newton and Einstein says they can be. And then little Jimmy says they can be. Was I too hard on little Jimmy? I don't know, and I don't even care. History is written by the winners. So apparently is science. And did you know, ladies and gentlemen, and this will bleed into our next podcast, that there's about 20 competing theories to Newtonian gravity. 20 competing theories to Einstein's theories. 20 competing ones. And it's by guys like Aristotle. Anybody ever heard of Aristotle? Aristotle was a fairly smart dude. And Aristotle had a theory of gravity that you've never heard of. Why? Because Aristotle wasn't on the side of the winners. So he didn't get to write science. Aristotelian physics says that the universe is in concentric spheres, that the earth is at the center and the celestial spheres go around it. Aristotelian physics say that there's terrestrial spheres made of 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water, and they're subject to change and decay. There's also a 5th element, according to Aristotle, called ether. Objects made of these elements have natural motions. Earth and water tend to fall. Air and fire tend to rise. The speed of such motion depends upon their weight and their density. And Aristotle also argued that a vacuum could not exist, as speeds there would become infinite. There's no resistance. According to this, NASA should be able to get a craft outside Earth's atmosphere, and it should just bloop, go to the moon like that. But what do I know? And what did Aristotle know? Aristotle. What does Aristotle know? Like Aristotle's smart. Aristotle. What the hell does Aristotle know? Just because we can observe that kind of stuff. Aristotle. Aristotle. Ridiculous. Just because all of the 4 causes can be seen on Earth. Aristotle. Did you know Aristotle even had a theory of gravity? And why weren't you taught about Aristotle's theory of gravity, or of gravitation is more correctly? Why, if universities are really about teaching, then why aren't we taught, well, here's what Newton had to say, here's what Einstein had to say, and oh yeah, remember the father of thinking in the Western world, the father of philosophy in the Western world, the dude that the whole damn thing is based upon? He actually had some thoughts about physics as well and about gravitation. You might want to look at those too, but no. Aristotle. Nobody cares about Aristotle. And he calls me a condescending prick when they won't even let us learn that Aristotle had a model of gravitation. Am I saying gravity's fake? I haven't said gravity's fake. I'm saying that we should be able to, and if we're really scholars, we should study more than one model. I'm saying we should ask questions. I'm saying we should question answers. I'm saying we should unindoctrinate ourselves. We shouldn't believe just because we're told and just because everybody knows. And yes, people will unsubscribe. And yes, people won't watch. And yes, people won't do shows with me anymore. And yes, people won't have me on anymore. I couldn't give one good hot damn, because we're going to bring the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Come with me if you want the truth. I am the unindoctrinator. Let's get busy. That's what it's all about here, cousins. And if you don't like it, well, bye. There's another guy named Lesage. We probably won't get through all of these today. Lesage, another really, really smart guy. 1784, he came up with a idea that there's a fluid-based explanation where a light gas fills the entire universe. Ether. Lesage said that there is a material that comes from all directions. He called it ultra-mundane corpuscles, and that according to this model, any two material bodies partially shield each other from these impinging corpuscles. Thus, it results in a net imbalance in the pressure exerted by the impact of corpuscles on the bodies, tending to drive the bodies together. If me and I won't say Jimmy because, for obvious reasons, Jimmy's a little cross. I don't know Penelope Greer, but if me and Penelope Greer were in a driving rainstorm and we didn't have no coats, say we were naked, not that kind of naked, but we were shipwrecked and marooned, me and Penelope Greer, and we're being pelted by rain, cold, freezing rain. What would we probably do? We would probably try to shield each other from the impending rain. We would reduce the imbalance between us and we get together so we could keep our bodies warm and not die. But why would other bodies do that? It's ridiculous. But we can make up shit called dark matter, and that makes perfect sense. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I'm just showing you that there's other thoughts. A guy named Ritz, not the guy that made the hotels, but a guy named Ritz also had a gravitational theory, and it also had to do with the ether. It also had to do with the ether, ladies and gentlemen. It's too mathy. I can't even tell you what it is. And if it's not good enough that we got one from Ritz, not the Ritz-Carlton, not the Ritz-Cracker, Ritz scientists, we also got one from Nordstrom. And the Nordstrom theory of gravitation is not Nika Domi going to Nordstrom to buy another fancy dress. That's not what the Nordstrom's theory of gravitation is. In Nordstrom's theory of gravitation, there's two distinct theories that are involved in it. And how do I explain these things? He thinks also that there is something to do with the curvature of space-time. And he also thinks that there's something to do with mass and gravitation. So it's kind of a amalgamation. But of course, we can't learn about that either, because it's got to be only Newton and only Einstein. He has a metric theory of gravitation, does Mr. Nordstrom. and that the effects of gravity are treated entirely in terms of the geometry of curved spacetime. Obviously, Mr. Nordstrom doesn't know what he's talking about because he wants to use math to talk about the anomalies. Doesn't he know it's just dark matter? Mr. Nordstrom, you so silly. Go back to building department stores because you obviously know nothing about science. The Kaluza-Klein theory, the KK theory, obviously that one's made by a white guy. It's a KK theory. It's got to be stupid. No wonder they didn't tell us about this one. But he says that gravitation and electromagnetism are built around the idea of a fifth dimension beyond the usual four of space and time. And oh yeah, it was a precursor to string theory. So let me get this straight. String theory is the rage right now. All the smart guys believe in string theory. But there is a competing theory, unified theory of gravitation and electromagnetism that's built around the idea of a fifth dimension beyond the usual four that that Einstein said of space and time. That string theory is all happy. Yay. We're so smart. We believe in string theory, but they won't allow the basis of string theory, which is Kaluza-Klein gravitation theory. We can't talk about that. That's called picking and choosing. That's called clothesline preaching. Science is written by the winners, ladies and gentlemen. Science is written by the winners. And by the way, Theodore Kaluza sent his results to Einstein. And the rest, of course, is history. I wonder if he sent them to the patent office in Switzerland. Now, I'm only going to give you one more because I know this is all science and we'd rather be talking about Nibiru, but hey, sorry. Mr. Whitehead also had a theory of gravitation, and he argued that for something called prior geometry, Whitehead's theory has a curious feature that electromagnetic waves propagate along null geodesics of the physical space-time as defined by the metric determined by the geometrical measurements and timing experiences, while gravitational waves propagate along the null geodesics of a flat background represented by the metric tensor of Minkowski space-time. Do I understand that? Not a word. Not a word. But I know that this is some interesting shit, and there's a lot of tests for it. There's a lot of data for it, but we're not allowed to know about it. All we know is about Newton and about Einstein and about the magic. And isn't it interesting that it's called dark matter? Is it dark magic? I don't know, but dark matter is used to plug all the holes in all the theories that they want us to know about, and they won't let us know or learn about any of these other theories because they were written by dummies like Aristotle. And I'm a condescending prick for bringing this information to you. I'm a condescending prick for bringing this information to you. And just so you know, little Jimmy, that was 6 historical alternative theories. Do you know that as far as modern alternative theories of gravitation go, there are the Brans-Dicke theory, the induced gravity theory, string theory, FR parentheses gravity, Horndeski theory, supergravity, modified Newtonian dynamics of Mordechai Milgrom, self-creation cosmology of G.A. Barber, loop quantum gravity, non-symmetric gravitational theory, tensor vector scalar gravity, chameleon theory, pressuron theory, conformal gravity, and entropic force, and superfluid vacuum theory. All of those. But all we hear about is Newtonian and Einstein. Still don't believe that science is written by the winners. You are not too sharp then, are you? Not too sharp. Not too sharp. Wow. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. That's some deep stuff right there. Come here with an open mind and open ears, and then maybe open your mouth. I like that. Aristotle and Socrates, they were smart dudes, ladies and gentlemen. Tracy's on board with Aristotle. The ether is a sweet place to hide. Ether is spirit. No wonder they don't want us talking about that, ladies and gentlemen. The element ether has been left out only by Einstein and Newton. Is the ether plasma? Tesla used ether to generate and transmit free electric power. Mile, thank you for bringing that in. And isn't it interesting that all of these rejected theories, all of these theories that I'm a condescending prick for bringing to you, most of those were championed by Mr. Tesla. But Mr. Tesla was not on the right team. Mr. Tesla was not one of the winners, so Mr. Tesla doesn't get to write science. Well, guess what? He gets to have his theories talked about here, and we will talk about them more. Now, says, sorry, where's my cursor? Where is my cursor? Where did my cursor go? Come to your home, cursor. There it is. Come to your home. Now you're on the right track. Earth is at the center. Why did they drop the A on ether? Interesting stuff. Tesla lost to Edison, absolutely. I think it depends upon the language. She's right on that. That's why they shut him down, made him a broken man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Aristotle. Always Sunny proved Aristotle wrong. Yeah, sure he did. I never heard of that dude, but I know he didn't prove Aristotle wrong. I wish we had the technology for free energy today. Guess what, Vanna? We do. They just don't want us to know that we've got it. They just don't want us to know that we've got it. We're going to rock on down to Electric Avenue. Absolutely. If only we could hear from Tesla's pigeon. Wouldn't that be awesome to be able to hear from Tesla's pigeon? Absolutely. Accepting fables in order to be liked isn't worth sacrificing truth. Abso-damn-lutely. I agree 100%. Wait, who is dissing you, not wanting you on their shows? Figure of speech, Jenny, you know. Aristotle must have had a different word for gravity because I don't think the word was invented back then. I think you might be wrong, Stephanie. I think you might be wrong, Stephanie, because it was called Aristotelian gravitation. I think there might have been that word. Corbin says, if gravity was real, would radio waves actually work the way they're supposed to? It's a good question. And you're obviously a condescending prick, Corbin, for asking that. Oh, shit, I got another show at 2 o'clock today that I forgot all about. Greg Lawson, law enforcement professional, likes to talk about using the rules of interrogation and investigation within the paranormal. We're going to have to run right along. I forgot all about Greg. Okay, truth. You can't handle the truth. Oh, this is good stuff. This is good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Cynthia throws the coffee cup at Jeff. I don't think so. That's never happened. Now, I have had in prior relationships, iPhones hurled at me, but that was prior stuff. We don't talk about prior stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Nika's laughing. I'm glad. Never hot, damn it. Laugh out loud. She wouldn't hit me, though, anyways. I'm like a ninja. I would catch it in my teeth. And that would make her really, really angry. That's why I do it. All right, let's see. Gravitation doesn't sound right without the pool. There's no space, just a night sky. You know what? I'm gonna have to end this because I got to get ready for another show. Sorry, guys, I forgot. But you're gonna want to come back and see and listen to my buddy Greg Lawson. Very smart guy, very interesting guy. Plus, he's been on TV, dude. He's been on TV like a bunch of times. He's, I guess you call him a part-time actor, I guess. So he's going to be a fun guy. You'll want to see him. Be back here at 2 p.m., which is 29 minutes from now, with Greg Lawson. And your lovable, condescending prick, your asshole, your lovable asshole and condescending prick, me, Jeffrey Daugherty. Come with me if you want the truth. I am the unindoctrinator. Let's get busy. We'll see you soon. We appreciate you being here, seeking after truth, back in less than a half an hour with the one, the only, Greg Lawson. Be here. All the cool kids will be. Talk to you then.